Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Not Scrum Dumb Podcast. I'm your co-host, Andreanna, professional Scrum trainer, and that's my amazing co-host.
Grand Scrum Master Scott, everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about on-the-job success. So what do you do the first month of being a Scrum Master? You started a new team or you started at a new company, or maybe you've never been a Scrum Master before. What does that first month look like? Scott, you want to kick us off?
Absolutely, Andreanna. The first month for me, I give you the perspective of I'm joining a team who has a Scrum Master that is still there, that's leaving in another week. So what am I going to be doing? I've never walked into an environment where they didn't have a Scrum Master. It could be the developer that's acting as a Scrum Master in the time being until they get a real Scrum Master, or it could be the product owner acting as a Scrum Master. There's a Scrum Master there in every environment that I went in. So typically they just don't throw you into just doing a job. You go through onboard and stuff like that. So as I'm watching the product owner or the developer or the acting Scrum Master, whoever that person may be for the first week, I'm just observing. Now I typically have my Scrum guide out as they go through sprint planning. If I get an opportunity to see that, I'm reading my Scrum guide and I'm looking at what they're doing and I'm taking down notes. How close are to what they read in the Scrum guide? That's what I'm thinking about. Now, when I get to the retrospective, if they have a fill-in Scrum Master, and I'm hired to run that role, if they have a fill-in Scrum Master, hopefully I get an opportunity to say something. If there's a Scrum Master there, I typically won't push it there. But let's assume that Scrum Master is not gone. This is their last retrospective. They handed it over to me. What am I going to do? Now, the first week I was there, I was observing all the bad behaviors and the dysfunctions that I'm seeing. So now I'm going to put on my coaching hat. I'm going to start out by facilitating. I'm going to facilitate the sprint retrospective because the old Scrum Master's gone or leaving or sitting down. This is their last day, so it's time for me to shine. So I'm going to start off by asking, hey, what do y'all think about this past sprint? How do y'all think y'all are doing according to the Scrum Guide? What are y'all thinking? And I just let that conversation go up, and I'm hoping they're going to identify some of the observations that I've seen in the first week or the first sprint. And I hope they begin to highlight some of those things that I have on the list that I wrote down, whether it's mental or actually on a piece of paper, in terms of the things that I'm saying. And if those topics don't come up, I'm going to ask them, hey, would y'all like to hear the observations I have seen this past sprint? Yeah. Do you want the whole truth or nothing but the truth, or you want the watered down version? Oh no, I'm just checking. This is my first retrospective, so I'm just checking. So I give it to them straight. Honestly, y'all want me to give it to you straight? That's the worst daily scrum I ever seen in my life. Sprint retrospective. I saw the demo, but did y'all complete anything? Do y'all have anything tangible for the customer? I've never seen that before. Explain that to me. I'm asking a ton of questions.
I think that's a really great example. I'll give one of being thrown in the deep end because I will say that I've worked at startups and I've been thrown in the deep end where they never had a scrum master. And that is not something where you feel like you can totally observe, but you still can't. You can still go in with that same mindset of I'm not trying to change 100 things in this very second, and I'm not going to be that person. Please, you don't be that person. Not everyone's going to go through your 100 item list, but think of the things that are the most important, that are really going to make an impactful difference. And you focus on those so you don't overwhelm the team and be like, oh, yeah, I've been here 3 days and you suck. Even though Scott said that, but there's other ways of doing that, just not necessarily giving them the whole list, right? That's one of the things you can do immediately in conjunction with observing and also facilitating. Because you're thrown into the deep end, you don't have anyone else. It's going to be up to you to facilitate. And maybe it's an opportunity to ask them to continue doing it how they were doing it prior to you so you can see what was going on. Maybe there are some people that are really great at facilitating, really great at leading certain events, and they might actually be a key player in you not only facilitating it yourself, but understanding the team style. Like, how do they like to run these things? How do they like to interact with each other? Or maybe through one on ones, because I think that's also what you should be having one on ones with the team members, product owner, and leaders in the org so that you build that relationship. You can understand, like, you saw that yesterday. I hated it, right? So being able to have that background of, okay, yeah, I did attend the meeting to see how you were doing it prior to me being here. Okay, you hate it. Or, hey, I really liked it. And you can get that feedback from them and still be able to have that context. I think the other thing that you could do immediately is remove impediments. It's not all rocket science. It's going to require a lot of work where you're trying to figure out who you actually speak to. But I think those are really good things to do in the first month. I know it seems like a lot. The first thing is observing, but you need to be able to actively come up with areas of improvement, especially when you're in an environment where they didn't have a scrum master before. Don't flip tables, don't go throwing things. Just slowly but surely understand it will take time. Everything's not going to happen overnight. Get to know their personality as well, which is what you did. You asked them, how do you want this information given to you? And that way you were able to give it to them how they said they wanted the information. Anything else to add there?
Now, I have been on some teams where I get the opportunity where I start day one as the scrum master. And I really love those teams because it gives me the opportunity to, one, directly put on my teaching hat while I'm observing, and I'm also going to facilitate. For me, for the first 30 days, if there's no scrum master already there, I'm walking right into it. I'm going to teach them the scrum guide, and I'm going to facilitate every single event for the first 30 days. For example, when I go to sprint planning, I'll probably have met with the product owner before I got there. Hey, tell me about your product backlog. These are the conversations I'm having before we get to sprint planning, making sure they straight. Then when I get to sprint planning, I'm going to start off very formal. Hey, we have 3 objectives in sprint planning. Why, what, how? That, and I'm going to facilitate that in such a way that I'm showing them what the Scrum guide looks like. And then I'm going to use the sprint retrospective to still ask the same question. Hey, tell me about my first week. I'm going to ask for feedback so that I know how to get better. And I'm also going to check their pulse and see, hey, what are y'all thinking? How do y'all like this first week? Am I doing good? Y'all like what we're doing? Y'all see any areas of improvement? What can we do moving forward? So I really like joining a team where there's nobody else there, so I can just go ahead and hit the ground running and help them get to where they need to be and go that way.
Yeah, and I think I'll add when I've joined a team that already had a scrum master, it was great because one, you get to build that relationship with that scrum master and they can tell you the real deal that's going on with the scrum team, especially if they were really connected to the teams. That's a really fun way to transition. I think we gave you some really good stuff on if you're transitioning with the scrum master there and if you're starting with a new team, and you can use a lot of these same techniques and things to do your first month on the job. If you made it to the end of this video, that means you have an attention span greater than a goldfish.
Be legendary, everyone, but not Scrum Dumb. See you in the next episode.